AM 1180, KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make a call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing at YouTube, Kern Radio, on this Wednesday, 2nd day of July. I could have cried this morning. I could have cried. There is no justice in America. And if you have enough money and you can hire really, really elite lawyers, you can do whatever you want. You really can. And a man clapped in court after getting convicted of 2 felonies. Something ain't right. We're very fortunate this afternoon. We have arguably the finest defense attorney in Kern County joining us at the bottom of the hour. H.A. Sala will give us his thoughts on this case at the bottom of the hour. It's a Wednesday, so our former federal agent Howard Marcus will chime in as well. We've got some eerie audio from Brian Kohlberger pleading guilty to killing 4 random people he never knew before the night that he killed them. 3 girls, 1 boy, and they were children. We'll get into that. Donald Trump continues on his unbelievable roll. The University of Pennsylvania has agreed with the president and most of this country that women should not participate with men. Not only is UPenn banning transgender athletes, but they're revoking the titles of the poster child of transgender athletes, biological men participating with women. Leah Thomas will unpack that for you. And the Dodgers got a big win last night, but tonight is the night where Major League Baseball's eyes will fall on Chavez Ravine, where Clayton Kershaw, I was thinking about it.
I'm still mad it's not against the Astros.
Just because they cheated?
Yep.
Who cares?
Full circle. It's full circle.
It's better. It's better. It's eeasier with the White Sox. It's not.
Fair.
They're horrible. They're horrible.
Yeah, but imagine Jose Altuve is the 30,000th strikeout.
Yeah. Or they rout us 7-0 and hit 3 home runs off of it. But I was starting to think, maybe I'm too hard on CK. When I started hearing some stats, he's only the 4th left-hander in the history of the game to get to 3,000. Can you name the other 3? One, you probably couldn't get because it was in my era, 70s. But the other 2, I'm sure you watched play baseball.
See, my problem is I can never remember if they're a lefty or a righty. All that I remember is
I think both of the men that you should know are very tall. And one played for the Yankees for a period, but was better known for playing in Cleveland.
CC?
Yes. CC Sabathia is one. Now think of a very tall pitcher.
How recent are we talking here?
Well, when you think of a tall pitcher, who do you think of? If you had to come up with one name for a tall pitcher, who would you come up with?
To be honest with you, Noah Syndergaard's the first one I think of.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Kids.
Randy Johnson.
True.
Randy Johnson. And the other one you would never know, Steve Carlton.
Yeah, that one escapes me.
Wow. You've never heard of Steve Carlton?
No, I'm sure I have. I just, certain names escape me at times.
He was a stud in the 70s for the Phillies and for, I think he played somebody else. But that's an awesome stat. That's an awesome stat. And for this guy to be as old as he is and as long as he's been in the game, and he's 4-0 this year, he just pitched 6 or 7 innings with 1 home run, 4 hits. He might, because I think Sandy was a better pitcher, but Sandy didn't have the longevity. Sandy wasn't pitching in his 30s. Sandy retired at 30. And there's got to be some reward for longevity. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've always said LeBron had the better career, but Michael was clearly the better player. I mean, come on, let's be real. What else is going on in the world of sports? We'll get to in the 5, along with Clayton getting to 3,000 tonight. Mike Brown, did you talk about this morning?
New head coach right after the show, but yes.
New head coach for the New York Knicks. And we've got some audio of Coco Gauff fighting back tears, explaining why. And her reasoning was exactly what I said. She said, it was difficult coming off of a win. And, she wins on a Saturday. She flies back to the United States on a Monday, and she's on all 3 morning shows, all 3 nightly shows, Kimmel and all that nonsense. And everywhere she goes for a week and a half, 2 weeks, people are telling her how good she is. And she admitted, she said, the upside of this is I got a long time to get ready for the U.S. Open, which she does. I just don't think she plays well on grass. And it's difficult for Americans to play well on grass. What did we say yesterday was the last American male to win? Sampras?
Sampras, yeah.
Sampras. Good Google it, Moogly. And you know why that is, don't you? You know why it's difficult for Americans to win on grass?
We don't have a lot of grass
courts here. Exactly. There are clay courts all over South Carolina. I played on them at Hilton Head. There are clay courts all over Florida where she lives and works out, in New York State. But there are not a lot of grass courts in the United States. We just don't play on grass. And I just don't think she's that good on grass, plain and simple. Because she just got outplayed. And she's got issues with her serve. She's really got to work that out. Because that was Serena Williams' ace up her sleeve. That when she got behind, she could get quick points. Just bang. 15 love. Bang. 30 love. Bang. Girl barely gets it back into the net. 40 love. She can just bang and win a game and get right back into it. But we'll get into that as well. And Maya Hernandez, the 20-year-old, I don't even know what to call this child. There should be, if you have a child under the age of 22, there should be a state law that you have to go through parental instruction. You really should. She's 20 years old and she left 2 children in a car for hours because she was at some medical spa. And she's not even from here, right? She's from
Visalia.
She's from Visalia. And she just left these kids in the car. And let's assume it's not even 100 degrees. Let's assume it's 72 degrees. You're not concerned that someone's going to pick up your children and just take them? Like, you're leaving infants alone, whether the temperature is moot as far as I'm concerned. You put them in harm's way. All right, let's get into this. I just think that the jury got it wrong. That'll be the first question I ask Mr. Sala. I think they absolutely got this wrong. And RICO, as everybody's talked about, all the defense attorneys talk about, it's very difficult to prove. And I think the difficulty with this was we're used to seeing gangsters. We're used to seeing mafiosos. We're used to seeing career criminals. Well, I'm sorry. I think Mr. Combs is all of the above. I think he's had something to do with murders. I think there are at least 3 murders that he should be at least investigated for. Tupac, Biggie, and that woman that he was dating that disappeared or got sick or something. I forget. I don't know his story. But this guy got away with a gun charge when he flipped a gun carelessly out of a vehicle when he was J-Lo. This guy is a career criminal. This guy thinks he's a gangster, and he ran a criminal enterprise like a gangster. What part of dragging a woman back into a hotel room is not kidnapping? So you're telling me that if a girl comes to my house tonight and she says, I'm leaving, Ralph, and I'm like, no, you're not, and she gets out to the lawn of my apartment complex and I grab her by her collar and drag her back into my apartment, I'm not going to get charged with kidnapping or abducting? Really? When somebody takes $20,000, when a multimillionaire takes $20,000 from a middle-class family because their daughter cheated on him, that's not extortion? That's not blackmail? When employees of the boss go out and buy drugs for the boss. That's not a RICO predicate. That's not a criminal enterprise. That's not using a legitimate business, Bad Boy Records, to do nefarious things. Like, I don't know, buy drugs? Frank Black. Can't even come up with a unique name. I don't understand. That's why I think the judge denied him bail. Everybody was waiting. All the experts, I had it on the Newsmax, Laura Coates on CNN, the Fox reporter, the MSNBC reporter, they were all like, he's coming out any minute. It's about to happen because there's no way they're going to deny him bail. But because why? He's a flight risk? He just dodged a torpedo. You think he's going to run off to Pretoria, South Africa right now? The reasoning was given that the history of violence towards the two girls. So the judge thinks now he's going to go upside the head of one of these girls. And I asked JR that in the hallway, and he was like, yeah, yeah, it's a possibility. And I was talking with somebody last night, and they were like, you better watch out for Cassie and this other girl. And if they just suddenly disappear, I wouldn't be shocked. But that's the bottom line. I think at the end of the day, at the end of 7 weeks of 34 witnesses, experts, prostitutes, employees, the bottom line is, and I haven't really heard a lot of the experts say this, but the bottom line is they just didn't believe the two girls who both insisted he raped me. They both said that in court. He raped me. Now, if that's not a RICO predicate, I don't know anything about the law, and I don't, but I know a little bit. And they just didn't believe him. And you know what I think did them in? What did Pop say? 8 out of 10 questions can be answered with
money.
Money. Cassie's sitting on $30 million. She got $20 million from the suspect. She got $10 million from the Century City Hotel that we infamously watched on tape, her being dragged back into the hotel room. Jane, the other girlfriend, the most recent, has a pending civil suit against him, and she's living in a palatial Los Angeles home that Sean Combs is paying for right now. Right now. What's today, the 2nd? Combs just paid the rent yesterday. Literally. He plunked down 10 grand for this girl to go rat him out on the stand and go fly back to her house that he's paying for. That's what did him in. Let me get this straight, said the jury. He raped you. He slapped you around. He made you feel like scum. But you're still taking his rent money. You haven't walked away from him. You haven't run away from him. You're still taking his rent money. That's what did him in, if you ask me. They believed it was consensual. They believed that these women put up with this thing because of the stature of who this guy was, the things that he could do for them. Cassie's, let's be honest, not very talented. And she would be a nobody, an absolute nobody. She'd be singing karaoke in Westwood if it weren't for Sean Combs. And this Jane figure, she'd be a PA at some production company. Sad, sad day in America. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, anybody chiming in? Anybody want to talk about this before we get Mr. Sala in here at the bottom of the hour?
I got one or two.
We'll hear from you guys, see what you all think. What do you think? Was justice done? Did the prosecution overreach? Did they not prove their case? I just don't think so. I think they proved it, and either the jury didn't understand RICO, didn't understand the different predicates, or just said, you two are money-grubbing whores that would do anything for $30 million that that girl's sitting on and millions that this other one wants, plus $120,000 a year house. Quick time out. Coming right back. Again, Mr. Sala, H.A. at the bottom of the hour. Howard Marcus at 4 o'clock. We'll unpack the Brian Kohlberger plea. You'll hear from the wanton killer. And transgender athletes got a big strikeout today. We'll unpack that for you as well. And it's a 7 o'clock game, so we can't monitor it, but Clayton Kershaw going for 3,000 strikeouts, only the fourth left-hander in the history of baseball to do so. In the meantime, you're listening and watching at YouTube, Current Radio, The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What is the Armstrong and Getty Show? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. The old style of talk radio where you're always screaming our side's always right, your side's always wrong, or taking a bunch of long.
I haven't been heard all day.
Now, we take a fast-paced look at the events of the day, the issues, the controversies, with a skeptical eye and a somewhat humorous tongue.
We try to be funny. We'll leave that up to you to determine whether or not you think it's funny. It's the Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral, Sorry about that. For those of you that are watching at YouTube Current Radio, you see one of the finest defense attorneys in the land live in studio with us, Umberto Sala. H.A., thank you so much for doing this.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Ro.
So let's begin with the obvious. What do you think? Did they get it right?
Obviously, I wasn't there for the evidence, but the way the prosecutor charged this, the U.S. attorney, from the beginning, I thought it was going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for them to prove the RICO charge.
They overcharged him.
Overcharged him, no question. Because when you consider how that statute is applied, usually it's applied where organized crime is involved, such as the mafia.
Right.
If you remember the John Gotti trial, that's the classic RICO charge. And in that case, they actually had Sammy Gravano, who was an underboss, testify against him.
A known killer who confessed to 19 murders.
That's right. But he said, Gotti told me to do this.
Right.
Gotti did this. Gotti did that. And that established the predicate offenses of murder and conspiracy to show that the enterprise that Gotti was operating came within the confines of the RICO statute. Now, to say that applies to Sean Combs, who operated a record company, Bad Boy Records, because there were, Cassie Ventura and the woman identified as Jane, that he had assaulted them or used them to engage in acts of prostitution, and then to say that comes under RICO, the New Yorkers didn't accept that because they're usually dealing with mob trials where RICO applies, or narcotics trafficking trials where you have the cartel involved. And you didn't have any Confederate testify against Sean Combs that was the purpose of his enterprise, to commit one of these predicate offenses, sex trafficking, bribery, that was the objective. And that was the problem that the prosecutor had, and the defense astutely knew that. They couldn't prove that. Yeah. That's the RICO charge. The other two charges that he was acquitted on, they simply didn't believe the victims.
Yeah,
that they were coerced, because there were literally hundreds of text messages back and forth, particularly involving Cassie Ventura, where she consented to these so-called freak-offs or hotel nights.
And in some cases set them up herself.
That's right. And appeared to enjoy those incidents. So the jury probably took the opinion, look, if they were willing to consent to that and agree to that, why should we find that they were coerced?
Yeah.
They didn't believe them.
Yeah. They both said they were raped. Didn't believe that. How did they ignore the $20,000 he got from Cassie's parents? They took out a home equity loan because he was upset that she was cheating on him, supposedly with what's the guy's name? Whatever his name is, doesn't matter. Kid Cudi.
Right.
Took $20,000 from them. Mm-hmm. And the other RICO predicate that I thought, what do I know? That's why I have you here. Having employees of yours buying drugs for you. And how is that not a RICO predicate?
Because the buying drugs is not one of the predicates. It had to be a very serious felony, such as murder, extortion, sex trafficking. Had they found the sex trafficking to occur, which is the coercive act of putting the victims into acts of prostitution, they probably would have found a RICO violation, but they didn't.
Yeah. Do you think they understood RICO? And do you think they understood the mentality of abused women? Because as we both know, most abused women stay in the relationship for one reason or the other, whether it's economics, dependence. Do you think they understood that, or
It's difficult to tell because I know the prosecution presented an expert on what is referred to as a cycle of violence.
right?
But remember, Cassie Ventura, they had this relationship for 11 years. She was an artist in her own right. She could come and go. She wasn't a victim that was held basically at home, had no means of economic survival, no way out, as it were. And generally, that's where prosecutors present experts on domestic violence. But it really came down, I believe, to the cross-examination of her and Jane.
Yeah.
Concerning the text messages.
Yeah, they destroyed
it belied that concept of I'm trapped in this relationship.
Yeah, when you're saying I'm looking forward to it and I'm setting
That's
it
right.
up, and it's hard to convince these people that,
That's right.
H.A. Sala is our guest. We're obviously talking about the verdict in the Sean Combs case. Explain to me how at 6 o'clock last night, when this show started, 6 o'clock Eastern time, they gave a note, or 5 o'clock, they gave a note to the judge saying, we are, and these are their words, unpersuadably deadlocked. And they get up the next morning, everybody's on the same page. How does that happen? And the other question I'd ask is, you are the veteran. When they come back quickly, isn't that normally conviction? Have you ever seen something
I've seen it
quickly?
I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
And you can't predict what's going through their minds, but I can tell you what a difference a day makes.
No kidding.
Obviously they were at some form of an impasse last night, but apparently overnight the juror or jurors that were holding out thought about the arguments presented by the other jurors, and were persuaded that the prosecutor had not proven the case beyond a reasonable doubt. That does not mean that Combs was innocent.
Right.
It just means they could have very well believed that he was culpable, but there were still an articulation by the other jurors that convinced the holdouts that there was reasonable doubt. That doesn't mean he was innocent.
Yeah.
Just there was a reasonable doubt, and the prosecution just failed to persuade them.
Yeah.
But the defense strategy of not calling witnesses and obviously not calling the defendant was a brilliant strategy.
Yeah.
And so what they did was develop their case through cross-examination.
Yeah.
And the text messages were key to establish that reasonable doubt.
You think the money hurt both these women? Because I don't think a lot of people realize she got $20 million. Cassie got $20 million from Sean. She got another $10 million from the hotel in Century City. Jane got a pending civil suit against him, and she's living in a house where he paid the rent yesterday. A $10,000 a month home in Los Angeles that he paid the rent yesterday.
That goes to the issue of motive. Why would they come into court and say the things they said against him? It just goes to their motive. And the jurors were there to observe her demeanor, the demeanor of the victims, the alleged victims, and that coupled with that kind of money that she received played into that, would explain why they were coming forward and testifying the way they did.
Yeah.
So sure, it's a relevant factor for the jurors to consider. And we weren't there. Demeanor is critical in how jurors evaluate a case. They see how the witness testifies. They see how they respond to the contradictory evidence to what they're saying regarding that this was coerced, I didn't want to do it. But here the text messages painted a different picture.
Yeah. Were you shocked, as I was this morning, and I think most of us were, that the judge denied him bail?
Absolutely. I could understand when he was facing a life term. actually 3 life terms. On the sex trafficking charges and the RICO charge. Why that goes to the issue of flight risk, which is one of the considerations for granting bail, along with public safety. But since he was acquitted of those charges and no longer facing life, and the maximum for transportation to engage in prostitution was 10 years on each count, although I don't think for 1 minute he's going to get anything near that. He'd be insane to bail out and then flee the jurisdiction where everyone recognizes his face. Where is he going to go?
Yeah.
Where is he going to go? So I don't believe at this juncture he presents a flight risk. I don't believe that he presents any kind of threat to either Cassie Ventura or Jane or any other witness in the case. He'd be insane to even think about doing anything like that.
And that's what the judge cited.
That's
violence
right.
toward the girls.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me, because what is going to happen now is the defense will be putting together a strong sentencing presentation in accordance with the federal guidelines that would try to persuade the judge that the appropriate sentence would probably be in the neighborhood of maybe 2 years, 24 months.
That's what I've heard from most of the pundits.
And not 20 years consecutive counts on each of the charges that he was convicted on.
Yeah.
Particularly also, Ralph, that he has no criminal record.
Right.
He has no criminal record. And he had and has a successful record company. The defense acknowledged that what he did was reprehensible, was horrific, it was criminal, but it didn't violate RICO, and it wasn't coerced sex trafficking.
Also, another brilliant strategy by the defense to, right from the get-go, admit, look, I'll tell you, he's a scumbag. But that's not what he's being charged for.
That's right.
Really cool.
That's right. It worked to their benefit, but also the judge cited that as a reason
for no bail.
For no bail.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? I'll leave you with this. Walk us through, how does a judge make the decision whether to either have the sentences on the 2 counts run consecutively, 5 and 5, meaning 10 years, or concurrently, meaning they run together, and he would only serve 5, and as you say, probably end up doing 2, particularly with a year of time served?
Well, for each count, my understanding is it carries up to 10 years.
Each count takes 10.
Each count, 10.
Okay.
So he's potentially looking at 20. But it depends whether the objectives were independent of each other. It depends on his background, depends on his attitude towards the case at the time of sentencing, what he presents in mitigation as to whether consecutive counts are going to be imposed. I believe that the judge will not impose consecutive sentences, but may impose much less, because what they take into consideration are the federal sentencing guidelines that have a number of circumstances that the judge needs to consider in evaluating whether consecutive sentences are appropriate.
Yeah. Final. What do you think he's going to do? 2 years?
I think it's probably going to be maybe 2-3 years, maybe anywhere between 21 to 27 months.
Yeah. Wow. And final. Does Clayton Kershaw get 3 strikeouts tonight and get to 3,000?
My wife is going to the game.
Is
tonight.
She really?
Yeah. I couldn't go because I have to work tomorrow, but she's in Los Angeles. She was in a trial. She's a court reporter, and she had bought tickets for tonight's game.
And just coincidentally fell on CK?
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
But she's going to be there tonight, and she thinks he's going to hit 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Always good to see you, sir. I really appreciate you coming in and taking the
you,
time. Humberto Sala, everyone. Really appreciate him coming in. We'll take a quick time out. Howard Marcus joins at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we'll check what you all are talking about right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KARN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. That was great. That was so good. Thank you very much.
These are New Yorkers. They have a living. Sammy the Bull.
Mhm. That's what I said. Yep.
Cartels, Chapo.
Yeah. Never heard of a criminal enterprise for sex.
Confederate, that's why this true criminal enterprises, drug trafficking, mafia, and that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
This is nowhere near that.
Yeah. Where the business is kind of a front for their criminal behavior.
Right.
He was actually, this is a decent
He was
business.
making millions and they're saying that the objective that he was involved in was to gain sex.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. Yeah. All right. Again, thank you so much. It's really good seeing you. God, your wife's lucky. That's funny.
Yeah,
Did she just stay down there?
Yeah, because she her case settled late this morning, and so she just confirmed that with me. She said, I'm on my way to the game. She's taking my niece.
Nice.
So I get to stay here and work.
That's unfortunate.
She got great seats too.
That's cool. All right. Thanks again. Take you too. That was great. That was freaking great. I don't care. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. A lot of text messages.
People in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy.
Oddblog predicted it last night at dinner. Yep. He said they're going to get maybe two out of the 4. 2 out of the 5. God, look at that. That's a nice car. God. My daddy wanted me to be an attorney.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earned from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now.
I'm not that detail oriented.
Like I am to a point, but then like
I am too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We're gonna redo that at 5. Okay. All right.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED.
What do our guys say?
They got it right. The prosecution didn't prove their case that, they're New Yorkers. They're used to John Gotti and Sammy the Bull Gravano and Mafioso, and their businesses are fronts. Their businesses don't even exist. Their business is just a front so they can commit crimes. This guy had a legitimate business and was just a freak. He's actually starting to change my mind a little bit. Maybe they got it right.
Well, I think they got it right. It's just make sure you just give him a little bit of time. They said the letter that Cassie wrote is why he's still in jail.
She's scared to death.
Fuck yeah. And there's evidence that says he hits her. So that's really
said he's going back to find a simple place and time. I know you will. It's my favorite part of the song. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Again, I want to thank Berto Sala for joining us. That was great. That was really outstanding. And if you want to hear that again, we'll post it at kernradio.com. And if you go to YouTube, the whole broadcast, you can watch that whole interview. Again, I didn't realize this till like a day or two ago. They post, YouTube does all of the shows that we record. So you can go back and watch the interview, but we'll post it at kernradio.com. And we're going to re-air it at 5:05 for those that drive home. In the meantime, what's everybody talking about?
The beautiful billionaires bill is sitting in the House in this GOP. There's no room for dissent. You have primaries and death threats to you and your family waiting for you if you get out of step.
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Trump possesses a power the likes of which we've never seen before in a president. Literally. Franklin Roosevelt served 4 terms, and I don't think he had this kind of power over the Democrats in the 30s and the 40s that Donald Trump has. And it gets back to what we call the Michael Bowers doctrine, when I implied, flat out stated that it wasn't going to pass, this big, beautiful bill wasn't going to pass the House. And he did the RCA Victor Dog look at me like, are you crazy? And he simply said, Ralph, at the end of the day, they'll all get in line. And that's what's about to happen. Did it get out of the committee? Did it get out of the procedural vote? Did they take that yet? Because last I heard, when I was leaving the House, they literally, leaving my house, not the House, not the House of Representatives, but my house downtown, where another accident occurred in the intersection of 23rd and E. At what point is the city going to do something about that? There's an accident in that intersection once or twice every month where people are trying to cross E and people are coming down 23rd going 45, 50 miles an hour. And when the traffic gears up from H, the first 2 lanes will obey the law and not block the intersection. And the person going south across E Street will assume that the 3rd and the 4th lane are going to stop. And if you don't get out in the middle of the intersection and peek through that 3rd lane and that 4th lane, they just assume they're going to stop. And these people are going 50 miles an hour and T-Bone City. And this one barely caught the end of the guy's car and flipped it around. And the other car ended up down by Steve Ratty's optometrist's office. It's crazy. And the city won't do a doggone thing about it. It's crazy. Who you got? Jay, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hello, Mr. Bailey.
How are you, Jay?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm outstanding. Thank you.
My question is, if Diddy was just an average person like us, not rich or anything, I feel like his charges would have been higher.
Would have been higher?
Yeah. Because for one thing, he's rich and he has money. And with a lot of rich people going to jail for crimes that an average person like us commits, they collect their time.
I don't think so. And neither does Mr. Sala, who's one of the best attorneys in California, if not the country. And he thinks they overcharged him because he was a celebrity. I think if he was a normal John, well, it's impossible to make the comparison because normal Johns don't have multi-million-dollar companies and employees and lackeys and things like that. So it's kind of impossible to compare. Do you think he was guilty?
Yes, of course I think he was guilty.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Bella, are you on the phone? Thank you. I'm going to go now.
All right, thanks for the call. Was there mom on the other line? That's funny. What else you got before we get Howard in here?
19 pitchers with 3K plus. Ryan has 5,300s or so.
All right, thanks. What else?
If the administration is Democratic, they'll give Leah Thomas's stuff back, pretty much guaranteed.
I don't think so. I don't like I don't like the CIF compromise, but it's as close to getting it right as they can. And that is they're allowing transgender athletes to compete. And if Chris Burdick is a boy who wants to be a girl and he wins, and I'm second as a girl, I still get the number 1 prize along with the transgender athlete. That's a pretty good compromise for right now. But at some point, this all has to come to an end. And I think UPenn backing down and instructions is all about what? What's it all about, Chris? Money. It's all about money, but that's fine. And the fact that they went, I understand them doing that, but the fact that they went even further and you see the use of further that rather than farther, Further is an idea, farther is a distance. You hit a ball farther, but you can take something like this further. They went further and revoked Leah Thomas's awards. That's a gargantuan step. I think it's the correct step. And of course, Riley Gaines is all over Fox, as happy as she can be. She's been really the point person on this thing. Hey, what did the Fever win? They win some interconference thing?
Their inter-season tournament, essentially, the mid-season tournament. Yeah.
I had no idea. Howard Marcus joins us next. You want to reposition the camera? You want to reposition the camera? That's all right.
On President Trump's tax and spending cuts package, determined to seize momentum from a hard-fought vote in the Senate. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he's been speaking with GOP colleagues who have concerns about the bill.
We're working through everybody's issues and making sure that we can secure this vote. I feel very positive about the progress. We've had lots of great conversations. I've met with individuals.
Nobody's in here.
As has the president, who's fully engaged as well.
Yeah, you got one guy on that. Give it a
Trying
sec.
to convince everybody this is the very best product we can produce.
The bill would extend and make permanent various individual and business tax breaks Republicans passed in Trump's first term, plus temporarily add new tax breaks for tips, overtime, and car buyers. Wisconsin's law banning abortion, which dated back to the mid-1800s, is struck down by the state's high court. Correspondent Donna Warder reports.
The law was in effect until the U.S. Supreme Court passed Roe v. Wade in 1973. But conservative Wisconsin legislators argued that the nullifying of Roe v. Wade in 2022 reactivated the old state abortion ban. The state attorney general, a Democrat, filed a lawsuit. And on Wednesday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court's liberal majority struck down the 176-year-old abortion ban. I'm Donna Warder.
A federal judge ruled that an executive order by President Trump suspending asylum access at the southern border is unlawful. Wednesday's decision could throw into doubt one of the key pillars of the president's plan to crack down on immigration at the southern border, but the judge gave the Trump administration 2 weeks to appeal. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 10 points, the NASDAQ rose 190. More at townhall.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Dr. Howard D.C., founder of Balance of Nature and formulator of the fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements, has teamed up with veterinarian Dr. Jake to create Dr. Fido's Dog Food Topper, a tasty, nutritious way to enrich your dog's meals. Just scoop, sprinkle, and stir. Call 888-388-7297 or go to drfidos.com, drphytos.com. And for a limited time, order now and receive a 10% discount with our money-back guarantee by using promo code BALANCE.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm John Shearer. A portion of a Wasco poultry farm caught fire Tuesday, according to Kern County Fire Department. The call came in around 2:30 in the afternoon. As firefighters arrived at the farm near Highway 46 and Gun Club Road, they reported seeing large plumes of smoke and a structure engulfed in flames. Now, reportedly, no chickens were in the affected building, and people who were got out safely. Cause of the fire is still under investigation. We're learning more about a body that was found in a shipping container. In mid-June, Kern County deputies reported a dead person was found in a shipping container just outside of Tehachapi. Now, according to reports, a suspect has been arrested and charged in relation to that incident. Police investigators have determined the suspect to be the grandson of the 83-year-old victim in the shipping container. Sources say the 22-year-old man was arraigned June 27th with a pre-preliminary hearing set for July 9th. The Kern County Probation Department Department arrested a man on suspicion of various crimes after he was found with a handgun, ammunition, and methamphetamine, according to the Probation Department. Officers who conducted a home call on White Lane arrested the man, who was on post-release community supervision, according to the Probation Department news release. Officers say they found a handgun, ammunition in various calibers, and about 46 grams of what is suspected to be methamphetamine. The suspect was arrested on suspicion of possession of a firearm by a felon, possession of ammunition by a prohibited person, and possession of a controlled substance, the Probation Department reported. I'm John Shearer in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on the second day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Coming to the bottom of the hour, we'll delve into Brian Kohlberger's plea bargain. Pleaded guilty to the murder of those 3 young women and the 1 young Idaho student. Never met him before in his life. Just randomly walked into their home late at night, early in the morning, and killed 4 young people whose families are livid that there was a plea deal, which again, I don't understand, because much like California, Idaho hasn't killed anybody in years. Vincent Brothers is still waiting to be taken out by the states. Scott Peterson is still waiting. I mean, they were never going to kill this guy. And I just think, I don't know, we'll ask our next guest. I just think prison is a life in prison, knowing you're never going to get out, that you get the toe tag exit. You have a toe tag on your foot when you finally get out, is harsher than the easy way out, I think. I don't know. I'm crazy. It's a Wednesday.
Make me sway like a lazy ocean.
Hugs the shore, hold me close, sway me north. Like a lover when I'm in the trees. Bend with me, sway with me. Like a lover, have a way with me. Sway with me, sway with me. Howard Marcus. How are you, Howard?
I just drove the canyon to get home. So I walked in about 3:59.
Where were you rushing from?
I was in Bakersfield. It's a long story. I was getting fitted for a compound bow, which I realized would take 3, pardon my language, frickin' hours.
Well, that is incredibly coincidental, because I have young Kendra today, our mutual friend, and she told me the next time that you're in town that we should all go to Bill Lee's together.
There you go.
She just told me that. Huh?
Have some shrimp.
Absolutely. The shrimp Cantonese. It's the best thing on the menu.
I used to have I think it was called Coolie Chow.
Ooh. Yes, no, they do.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
There's
I've
not.
been there, oh, my God, years.
I was just there like for the first time in a couple of years, like a month ago.
Well, you're quite the gourmand. You know that. You flit around like the social butterfly that you are.
Not anymore. That's what I'm saying. It's been a year or 2 since I've been in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't get out as much, Howard. I'm an old man, dude.
I'm older than you, so I don't want to hear that stuff.
Yeah. All right, so we got to begin with the obvious. What do you think?
Please don't say Diddy. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? After OJ, I'm not surprised by anything. Rich and powerful get the treatment that you and I don't get. They can afford attorneys that you and I would never afford. I'd probably end up with a public defender.
That's very true.
College, and I'd be in jail, you know. And that's just the way it is. I wouldn't be able to make bail. I wouldn't be able to pay an attorney. You know, the rates are just outrageous. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's got over $1 million in attorney's fees.
Oh, easy, easy.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we sit here and we don't hear what the jury says. We don't hear the evidence that's presented. And beyond the reasonable doubt, if there's even a hint, obviously, that it's not a concrete case, I don't know. You know, he's going to get, hopefully, they said the minimum sentencing guidelines federally is about 5 years on what he's been convicted on. And hopefully they won't run concurrently, but I bet they do. And then if on federal, you've got to do 85%. So he's not like the state where you get 1 for 1. So if they do him 5 years, he'll have to do probably about 3.5 to 4.
Mr. Sala expects it maybe 2 to 3.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Again, different level of justice, and that's not a recent phenomenon. You know, the rich and famous always manage to skate.
Well, actually,
Diddy against Diddy, they just get better attorneys.
That is the key right there, because I think Mr. Sala has really kind of convinced me, because I thought they got it wrong. But I think he touched on a point that we kind of referenced during this 7 weeks, and that is we've never seen a criminal enterprise case involving sex. You know, these are New Yorkers who, and this is the last thing he told me off mic, and you may have heard it because I might have turned off my mic for those on YouTube, but these are New Yorkers that are used to, in RICO cases, seeing John Gotti sitting there, and Sammy the Bull Gravano, or all the hoods that Rudy Giuliani put away using the RICO acts. We've never seen a RICO act that involves a guy just wanting to get off. And as bizarre as it may be to us, you know, after years and years of girls agreeing to do it and setting it up themselves and sending massive text messages saying how much they love it, and the other girl taking his money literally to this day, it's like, that's not how my daughter would react. My daughter would not, if she was raped by Ralph Bailey, continue to take his rent money. And I think they didn't believe him. They didn't believe the girls, bottom line.
Which is sad. Well, you know what's going to happen, though? He is going to get a ton, I mean, literally, of civil suits.
Oh, yeah.
Where the burden of proof isn't the same. It's the majority.
Right.
And he's going to end up paying tons of money. He's going to get judgment after judgment after judgment from all these girls. If he's lucky, if he's smart, he'll start settling out of court. But it's just like the O.J. case. You know, the criminal case didn't do anything, but boy, he got chased by Ron Brown's dad for years.
And they never got a dime from him.
No. Well, he went to Florida. Remember that, where they
Yep.
got them from all that.
Yep.
And you know, note to self: move to Florida. But you know, the reality of it is that's what's going to happen next. He's going to get civil suit after civil suit after civil suit.
Oh, he's got a bunch pending right now.
Right, exactly. And everybody who didn't file one is going to file one,
Including the Jane, the last girlfriend.
Exactly. Why not? They all smell money in the water, so to speak. And it's going to be a Me Too as far as, you know, getting in on the deal.
Yeah.
And you know, this I'm not surprised anymore. You know, cases that we thought were a lock aren't. And it just goes to show if you think that you're right, quite often we're surprised. I didn't think he was going to get off on all the charges either. I wasn't sure about the racketeering part, but you know, we don't see what they see. My wife was on a 6-week trial, and it was black tar heroin being traded for AR-15s to go down to Mexico for the Chiapas rebellion. And it was an idiocy case here because what it was, they popped the 2 guys involved, the husband of the wife, and they had mistakenly released them out of Laredo. They disappeared, of course. They went back to Mexico. But they popped the wife for being a co-conspirator. What it was, she had a 10-pound bag of cocaine in the washing machine that she had to move to do laundry, and then ended up being buried in her front yard. And the defense was that she was a good Hispanic wife. She just did what she was told. And my wife believed that, and she got off.
Really?
And I said, I never want you on my jury. I sure want you on my jury if you're guilty. She's now giving me a dirty look, by the way.
Yeah, I blame her.
I said, let me get this straight. You had to move this bundle of cocaine to do laundry. It wasn't like you didn't know about it.
Right.
And, you know, the jury, my wife was the only one. The jury found her innocent because they believe the cultural thing about, you know, Hispanic wives do what they're told.
Yeah.
And I went, well, okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, the jury trial stuff now, you know, this is a sensation now. Next month there'll be another case. You know, and that's just the way things work. You know, people forget what they move on to the next, you know, item of interest. We have a short attention span. You know, and you know, this may go on for a while because of civil trials.
The activities of the 20th century just don't operate in the 21st.
No.
Things that were just taken for granted. I mean, I can just remember just office behavior. You know, back in the 20th century, people giving each other back rubs and
you can't do that anymore.
And just all the kind of things that went on in offices that I worked for in the 20th century. That if you did that now, you'd be sitting in an HR office.
Well, I remember my first wife was trying to move up the corporate ladder. She started as secretary and was trained to be above her, and then got moved to a position. And the guy that she replaced, she got less pay, and the boss just told her flat out, "Well, but you're a woman." And I went, "You say that right now? You're writing me a big check."
Oh yeah,
40 years ago, it just that was kind of the norm.
That was just
expected men to make more and women weren't less, and that was kind of the way it was.
I think Lou Grant used to say that to Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, but
that he's got a family, and you're just a single woman. You don't deserve to get more money.
Yeah, exactly. And that stuff doesn't fly anymore. There's plenty of attorneys out there waiting to hear that.
Yeah. Howard Marcus is our guest, as he is each and every Wednesday. So they're trying to get the big, beautiful bill out of committee. Bowers was right. The Bowers doctrine. Everybody's going to get in line. What is this thing going to look like when they send it back to the Senate?
Well, they've already said they're going to put back the Medicaid illegal alien provisions. At least they've announced it.
Well, explain that.
They pulled it out. Remember I don't even know why they put it back. The Senate pulled it out. The Senate
pulled what out? Explain what you're talking about.
Okay, if you're on Medicaid and you're legal alien, like the state of California does, they had it in this current bill to pull that funding. And it was in the House bill, and the Senate pulled that amendment. And the House has already said, we're going to put it back in. It was in the House bill.
Meaning that folks that have come here illegally, undocumented citizens, will not get Medicaid?
Correct. And that'll be a federal law, so it's...
Howard?
You still there?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm on a landline. But anyways, so they pulled that out. The House already said, we're putting it back in. So there's going to be an arm wrestle over it. And I'm not quite sure. Look, it was $900 billion in Medicaid cuts, but it's not really cuts. It's able-bodied people. I think that's still in. Have to do a minimum. We're talking about picking up newspaper on the side of the road stuff. We're not talking about you have to go out and work 80-hour weeks.
Right.
I think it was between 20 and 40 a month, and then between 18 and I think it was 60, and then obviously legal aliens wouldn't get it. Well, what's wrong with that? And then they have to play. I think it's $100. These aren't unreasonable. I have insurance and I have a copay.
Right.
And you can't treat emergency rooms as HMOs for illegal aliens.
What about perception? Because if I'm Jasmine Baines, who I think at any second is going to announce she's running against David Valdeo, I'm going to have a host of advertisements that say Donald Trump and David Valdeo broke their promise to us here in the 22nd District. People are going to lose their Medicaid. Vote no on David Valdeo and vote for me, Jasmine Baines.
I don't know, because it's a matter of how the Republicans counter that and what kind of ad campaign David Valdeo runs. The smart voters get it. The majority of people that voted for Trump get it. You know what I'm saying? They understand it. If you fall for simple propaganda, you kind of deserve what you get. He's in a difficult position. He's always been straddling the fence anyways. Things like path to citizenship, voting for impeachment. He's done certain things that anywhere else he would be in trouble. And because of where he was, he had to kind of try and be in the middle ground, which I never appreciated anyways. So I think he's going to be in trouble only because they're going to run an enormous ad campaign against him.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of whether the Republicans going to stand up and spend the same amount of money. And I don't know the answer.
What about the deficit portion of this? CBO saying 2.8, others saying maybe $3-4 trillion to the deficit.
Well, if you look at what they're cutting, and if you anticipate higher revenues, theoretically higher revenues, if the economy recovers like it's supposed to, it may cover it. But here's the problem: we're running deficits anyways. Whether this bill passes or not, any funding bill we've had, Biden, Obama, everybody, including the Bushes, we had a deficit. We had to add to it. That's how we got to $32 trillion. So you have
we're approaching 36.
36, yeah.
Yeah, we have Daniel Petrie tighten us up every Thursday, and we're at 36 trillion.
So the answer is you've got to start cutting at some point, and certain things, unfortunately, are a third rail, or things you cannot cut. And you have a choice. You can fund the stuff that really is important. You continue to make cuts where you can, and that's where the start with Elon Musk started. Because what's the alternative? If we don't do the cuts we're having, we're going to have real problems at the border. We're going to have real problems with the military. and we'll still have deficits. We're going to have deficits no matter what we do. It's just a matter of, are the priorities being shifted to what really is important?
So this
USAA, what a scam. Hundreds of millions of dollars. And look at the Medicaid thing they just found, those people in charge, $500 million in Medicare fraud.
So there's no question this thing's going to pass in one form or another. I completely lost the question that I was
They'll have conference committees and they'll hammer it out. I just want to see who's going to win that one.
God dang it. I totally forgot the question I was going to ask you.
It's okay.
I really
My
did.
feeling is that the Senate being sort of the senior partner, I don't know why they're going to die on this rock. I think they're going to still try and strip out the Medicaid. And I don't know why. They got a couple guys. They got the one guy that's until it's not running again. He was talking about his constituents, 600,000 or whatever his people. I said, wait a minute. These are able-bodied people or illegal aliens. Why are you dying on that rock? And you're not going to run again. Now you can vote you can actually vote the appropriate way. I don't know.
A lot of this money goes to ICE.
Yep.
Are we going to start deporting all undocumented folks, or did the president, when he talked about farmers and hoteliers, is he looking for an off-ramp?
I don't know, because the problem I've got is if you start making exemptions for supposedly necessary industries, which, by the way, hotel employees aren't. Farm labor, you could argue. They still have a Bracero program, by the way. If you start carving out exemptions, everybody wants one. Meatpacking is going to say we have to have it. Hotel is going to say it. Construction trades. Everybody thinks that they're the priority.
Lost him again.
As far as how and when they go.
Yeah.
Criminals first, everybody else, because he's warned them. If you're here right now, you've been there 20 years, you better get your act together and apply for a green card or citizenship. If you're here for a long time and you haven't done it, you don't deserve to stay. I just got to play this simple. I mean, we cannot make exemptions for sob stories because everyone would have one.
But they're locking folks up that are going to court.
Yeah.
Trying to do the right thing.
Well, the problem is with the Democrat playbook was to try and tie it up by having every deportee, potential deportee, get a court hearing, which would literally just jam the system, which is the point. And the system would collapse. You can't have 10, 20, however millions of people each get an individual hearing. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And Trump's obviously closed the border down, so we won't have any future problems. He's done an excellent job there and doesn't get credit for it. But you've got to get rid of the people that are here. 500,000 Haitians, 350,000 Venezuelans. They've got to go home. And the easiest way, and I've said this for years, the easiest way to get rid of it is you cut off all their entitlements and you make it impossible to find jobs. You don't penalize them, you penalize the employers. Jail and fines and, for hiring somebody knowingly. The E-system is broken. You fix the E-system, which is I don't know if people know what that is. It's an E-check. They're supposed to check employment status and citizenship. It's been broken for a long time. You make it so that they cannot find work and cannot get entitlements, and they will self-deport out of necessity because the majority of them are here for economic reasons. And if that reason goes away, why are they here?
Yeah.
It sounds harsh, but that's the truth.
It is harsh. I think that is harsh.
It's very harsh.
I'll leave you with this. Have you heard the story of the Disney cruise and the father that rescued his daughter?
I hope they charge him with,
don't get ahead of yourself now, because that's my question. There's a story going around, although I've heard other versions, that he was summoned to the spot where she fell, which I find hard to believe because it was a 42-inch plexiglass. Right. But there's a rumor that he set her up atop this plexiglass, was trying to take a selfie, and she fell in. Should he be charged with endangering a child?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Or your choice, the child endangerment or criminal stupidity. Why would you post a 3-year-old child on top of a barricade with, a 40-foot drop into the ocean?
Yeah.
You're lucky she didn't die from the impact right off the bat.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think it's insane that, these people do incredibly stupid things and think that they get off scot-free. I think he's going to be charged. I'd be surprised if he wasn't charged, if that story's true.
If that's true, yeah. But it's a nice save, though, isn't it? Good googly moogly.
Would you imagine your kid? What sane person would do that?
Michael Jackson. The last time I saw something like that was Michael Jackson hanging his baby out a window.
Out the window.
Yeah.
It's not like he was exactly normal.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sir. Any big plans for 4th of July? What do you and Mary do for the 4th?
Hide from the fireworks, I guess. I don't know. No, I've got usual stuff. We don't normal activities. It's just another weekend when you're retired.
I hear you.
In Rosedale, I had to stay home to make sure my house didn't burn down. It's like Third World War would break out.
Yeah, no
up
kidding.
Here, we're just gonna wait and see because idiots up here set up firewoods and fireworks in a fire zone.
Yeah, that's
So I'll probably
crazy.
just stay home.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me know next time you're in town. You and me and Kendra go out and do some Billy's, do a little shrimp Cantonese, egg foo young. We'll have this whole table full of food.
Works for me, guy.
All right, man. Have a good
Fourth.
Fourth.
Happy 4th.
You too. Tell Mary we said hey.
Already, guy.
Howard Marcus. Quick time out. Getting to the bottom of the hour. Talk about UPenn changing their policy on transgender athletes. You will hear from Brian Kohlberger, the convicted murderer, confessed murderer is a better term, confessed murderer of the 4 Idaho students. We get into all of that. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, 2nd day of July, short week. Obviously, we are not here on Friday. Quick time out. We're coming right back right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will talk about holiday traffic with our friend DC Williams from the California Highway Patrol. Dr. Corey Gonzalez will be joining us to talk about mental health care. And we will ask you one more time, please don't burn the town to the ground over the weekend. Plus news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hey, it's JR for Bakersfield Weight Loss. Do you want to know the secret to resetting your metabolism so you can get your excess weight off and keep it off? The secret is Bakersfield Weight Loss. I've been working out for years, cutting calories and not seeing the scale move. It was because of my metabolism. That's what sets the Bakersfield Weight Loss program apart from others. They help you stop the yo-yo dieting and reset your metabolism to burn calories faster and keep your weight off for good. You may have tried the GLP-1s like semaglutide injections to lose weight, only to find out that you had terrible side effects and you didn't lose much weight. And if you did, you just gained it all back after going off the drugs. It's time to take control of your metabolism and end the cycle of weight gain and frustration. The Bakersfield Weight Loss Program helped me reset my metabolism, and I lost 25 pounds last year, and I've kept it off. This program has helped over 70,000 people lose weight by resetting their metabolism to keep their weight off for good. Schedule that free consultation today by calling 661-449-1150 or online at bakersfieldweightloss.com.
Alcaraz won today.
Not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Straight sets.
That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending
Wait
on
for your
gas
boy Sinner
in
to
a
spit
year.
the bit.
$5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash
they're
back
gonna
with
see each
Upside
other in the
just by
finals.
buying
You
the gas
kidding?
you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use
Although
Upside every
Djokovic
time
was
I
pretty
fill up.
damn good.
I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
That
I'm
is a
saving
good
the cash
question.
I earn
I
from
don't
using
think he's
Upside
in.
to help pay for a vacation later this
I
year.
thought,
the
and I
free
wasn't going
Upside
to
app
quote
now
this,
to
but I
earn
think
cash back
Sinner
every time
and
you buy gas. Use
Alcaraz
promo code
are in the same
WEALTH25 to get an
bracket.
extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out
I could be
anytime right to your
wrong, though.
bank, PayPal, or a gift
The
card
way
for
they
Amazon
posted
and
on
other brands.
television, it's
Just
hard
download
to,
the free Upside app and use
because there's
promo
like a
code
top and a lower
WEALTH25
bracket.
for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Please. 842-537-6842-KERN. Give me 2 quick text messages. Let's get to the bottom of the hour.
Real quick, I'm in trouble. Novak's in Sinner's bracket.
Is he really?
He's at the bottom of Sinner's bracket.
And Alcaraz is in the other bracket?
The bottom half bracket, yeah.
Who's the highest ranked guy at Alcaraz's bracket?
Give me a sec. I'll let you know right now.
'Cause you got
Mr.
Fritz
Burdick,
Fry.
Mr. Burdick and I have a small lunch wager. I've got Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz.
So you got
And
Fritz, the
he's
number
got
5 seed. I have Novak, the number 6.
Oh, see, now that sucks because I wanted to root for the American. I wanted to root for Taylor Fritz.
Well, because we just lost one of them this morning, Tiafo, right?
Oh yeah, Francis Tiafoe went down today. You know, he's never gonna live up to his at least what I thought, yeah, would be his potential. Francis Tiafoe's a African American from Atlanta, lives in Florida. That's where they all go. Coco's from Atlanta. They all go to Florida.
Fritz has moved on though.
Who has? Fritz?
Yeah, the other American.
Took him 5 sets. Yeah. Quick time out. Last half of the hour. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Yes, straight sets. I'm sorry, not straight sets, 5 sets.
Leaders in Washington. Authorities say 7 people are missing following an explosion at a fireworks warehouse in rural Northern California that caused a massive fire. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection says Wednesday that emergency crews and investigators are working with the property's owner and monitoring the area using drones to find the individuals. It's not immediately clear if those missing worked at the warehouse or lived nearby.
Yeah, the 20-year-old.
Republican leaders in the House are sprinting toward a vote on President Trump's tax and spending cuts package determined to seize momentum.
She's getting lip fillers done.
The Senate will essentially daring members to defy their party's leader and vote against it. On Wall
Where did you
Street,
get
the
that?
Dow down by 10 points. The Nasdaq
Babies from
rose
now?
190.
Send that to me.
More at
Text that to me.
srnnews.com.
Otherwise,
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'll just go to Facebook.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm John Shearer. Kern County officials have identified a toddler who they say died after being left unattended in a vehicle Sunday afternoon. The coroner's office said 1-year-old Emilio Gutierrez was left unattended in the vehicle at a Bakersfield business on South Rio Road about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Officials say the toddler's mother has been arrested and reports say charges include involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. In mid-June, Kern County deputies responded to the report of a dead person in a shipping container just outside of Tehachapi. Now, according to reports, the suspect has been arrested and charged in relation to that incident. Police investigators have determined
20
the
years
suspect
old
to be
and
the
dumb as
grandson
hell, and
of
just.
the 83-year-old
I was saying at the top of the
victim
show.
shipping container. I'm
If you
John
have a
Shearer,
child under
KERN
22, you
Newsroom,
should have to
news
go
every
to
half hour or when
parental
it breaks on
instruction
News Talk
class.
96.1 and
Just
AM
basic
1180 KERN.
Seatbelts, car
Gino
seats,
Antonio Valpredo from Luigi's
vehicle, leaving them
Restaurant
alone.
in World
I mean, you would think that's just
Gino,
basic
I
common
call you the
sense.
Michael Corleone
And she
of
thought
the
she was
family
doing the right thing
because you
by
kinda
leaving the car
stumbled
on.
into the family business.
She thought she was being responsible. Or what if one of them climbed, the 2-year-old climbs in and puts it in gear by accident?
Restaurant. What do we do now? And my mom said, just treat people the way you want to be.
And from Visalia,
It's that
came all the way to
philosophy that you
Visalia
created
to
that's
here
made
to get
Luigi's
lip
such an
fillers.
iconic restaurant.
I feel like the community comes
Our
together
society
when we
is.
talk about
Yeah.
Luigi's because
Yeah.
we've been there for so long.
20 years
I
old.
have seen so many families and children.
And I'd be
their
willing to
children
bet
and their
that
children.
the two babies
When
got
this
different
started,
daddies,
it
even though
was
you're a year
something
apart.
else, and now
A year
it's-
apart.
It's amazing. 80-something employees, and they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the best people in all of Bakersfield.
Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, where families meet.
What is the Armstrong and Getty Show? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. The old style of talk radio where you're always screaming our side's always right and your side's always wrong or taking a bunch of long, dull calls. No, we take a fast-paced look at the events of the day, the issues, the controversies with a skeptical eye and a somewhat humorous tongue.
We try to be funny. We'll leave that up to you to determine whether or not you think it's funny. It's the Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
842-537-6842 KERN. I was communicating with the folks at YouTube, KernRadio.com, where you can monitor the broadcast. You can go back and look at prior broadcasts. We are televising both my show and the JR show that precedes us at 2 p.m. Did I send you the Kohlberger stuff?
Sorry, I was on. Yes.
I sent you the Kohlberger plea. Let's play that. This is the reading. It's kind of boring, but it's just, I don't know. I saved it just because it was so chilling. Just to hear this guy who went into this community that he didn't live in, middle of the night, just randomly killed 4 people. And he pleaded guilty today.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohlberg, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Just like he's ordering eggs. Did you kill 4 people? Yes. Do you understand that you're going away for life? Yes. How did we lose this generation of young men who just, I don't know, lost their minds, lost their way? It's never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. This is on the wake, of course, of the 20-year-old who created a fire to lure first responders to a site where he could pick them off with a shotgun. 20 years old. Meantime, in other legal news, Bakersfield now has got some breaking news regarding Maya Hernandez. She's the 20-year-old who's been charged with involuntary manslaughter. It's involuntary manslaughter because, as grievous an act as it is to leave your children in a car, she did not premeditatedly figure, oh, I'm going to leave them in the car to kill them. She's just stupid as all get out. And I mean, it's beyond stupid, actually. But Bakersfield now is reporting why she was here and what she did with the kids. I'm just going to read from the Californian. Please stand by. Newly released, God dang it. Hang on, I think it's doing whatever it wants. I don't know how to operate my phone. I really don't. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Newly released court documents reveal that the mother charged in her child's hot car death left the vehicle running with the AC on before undergoing a cosmetic procedure. However, a car dealership foreman explained that her vehicle can turn off after about an hour of inactivity. According to the offense report, on Sunday, June 29th, 2025, at around 4:43 in the afternoon, officers were dispatched to South Real Road at the Always Beautiful Med Spa for an ambulance request. So that's right down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that near like Stockdale?
Too far.
Huh?
That's not too far from here, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's a map on here. The first responding officers arrived at 4:45. The report said they arrived to notice ambulance personnel performing life-saving measures on a child. The child was taken to Adventist Health Hospital where he later died. They also saw a woman holding another child with wet hair and appearing to be lethargic. One of the officers spoke to Maya Hernandez, the mother of the two children. According to the report, Hernandez arrived at the medical spa for a lip filler procedure.
We got told it was eyebrows.
She wanted the duck look. And she drove from Visalia at the age of 20, leaving her two children, ages 2 and 1, in a vehicle so she could get her lips filled. She said she left the children inside her vehicle, a 2022 Toyota Corolla, with the air conditioner on, according to the court document. The document said she left the business at around 4:30 and noticed one of the children seizing with foaming at his mouth and shaking. She began performing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and called law enforcement. Once again, pure ignorance. Because as we just had some folks on talking about CPR, they don't instruct you to use mouth-to-mouth any longer. It's the compressions that they want you to use. An officer noticed the front passenger side window was rolled down and placed his arm in the vehicle and felt warm to the touch. The report said law enforcement interviewed a registered nurse who was the on-duty injector for the medical spa and the injector for Hernandez. The nurse said Hernandez texted her that morning to confirm her appointment. The document said Hernandez asked, quote, "Thank you. Can I bring my kids?" This thing is jumping all over the place. Text her that morning to confirm her appointment. Thank you. You can bring my kids. Thank you. Can I bring my kids by chance? Where the nurse responded, "Sure, if you don't mind them waiting in the waiting room, hon." Hernandez did not respond. The court document detailed the time frames of when her appointment was to her arrival at the location. It said she arrived at 1:10. And they fished them out of the car and 3 hours later, where the nurse told her to wait because, quote, she was backed up. The nurse texted Hernandez to come in at 2:02, and around 2:27, Hernandez texted her that she had arrived. It was not stated what time her lip filler procedure began. However, it said it took about 15 to 20 minutes. After discussing payment, she went to her vehicle. Hernandez came back. Dang it. Why don't this one thing will not stay still. Hernandez came back about 10 to 15 minutes later with her child. A patron has another child, taking him to the restroom to pour water on him. The report said one person stated a child was drinking water from a milk bottle, which looked dirty with milk residue. The documents explained that the 1-year-old was pronounced dead at the hospital, while the other child was able to get his vitals back to normal. The offense report also included a summary of the interview with Maya Hernandez. The report said Hernandez made an appointment for a cosmetic surgery in Bakersfield and left Visalia at around noon. Hernandez stated at around 2, she went into the business and left the children in their car seats with crackers, candy, milk, and her cell phone propped up so that they could watch television, according to the report. Hernandez was adamant the vehicle was left on with the engine running, as if that's responsible. Like she wants to be patted on the back. I left the car running. As if a 2-year-old could not get and put the car in gear. The report said Maya Hernandez stated she was certain that her car would stay on with the air conditioning running the whole time she was gone because she had been in her car for an extended period of time before and had even slept in her car. The report said she was told she could bring her kids into the waiting room, but was concerned about the time she was in the procedure. The report said she did not check on her children while she was inside waiting for her procedure. The offense report said Maya Hernandez admitted that she knew it was irresponsible to leave her kids in the car, and she thought about it when she got out of the car, but had no justification as to why she left them anyway. During the investigation, it was found that a social worker informed an officer about a referral made on March 18, 2024, about Hernandez being accused of emotional abuse, which was deemed unfounded. Law enforcement also spoke to a shop foreman at North Bakersfield Toyota. He advised that the vehicle shuts off after an hour of inactivity. He also forwarded the section of the vehicle's user manual, noting the vehicle will automatically shut off. Okay, who cares about that? Offense report indicated additional details for any of the doctors, patrons, and staff of the medical spa. Kern County Office attendant. She's pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of willful cruelty to a child. She's back in court July the 11th. I hope they throw the book at her. And let's just pray to God. And that poor surviving boy is ruined. Ruined. He probably has no father who's actively involved in his life. His mother is now about to go to jail for at least 4 or 5 years. And what are they going to do? They're going to give the child back to her? I don't know. Who do we book to talk about something like this? Like the future of the surviving child. And again, like I said at the top of the show, we have instruction for everything. For everything. Why don't we have instructions for parenting? It should be mandatory for kids or young adults up to 22 years old. You know, we don't teach life things in our education system. We don't teach children, and these things don't really matter much maybe, but we don't teach kids about balancing a checkbook. We don't teach them about finances, about responsibility, about paying rent, about how it's not just paying rent, that it's first, last, and sometimes a security deposit on top of that. We don't teach these kids real life lessons, and we don't teach children who have children, because we can all admit that, right? The kids are having kids. So then why don't we instruct these children on how to have children? They have no clue. This wasn't out of malice. I bet on a certain level, she's a decent young woman. She's just a typical idiotic, stupid, self-engaged 20-year-old. More concerned about her facial appearance than she is the fate of her 2 children. I mean, it's just so sad. It really is. Let's take a break. This has been a very sad show, hasn't it been?
It really has.
What are you going to do? Well, we got something to look forward to tonight. All eyes on Dodger Stadium tonight. Mrs. Sala, Umberto's wife, is going to be there. He's down there with his niece. He's pretty lucky. Big Dog looked into it. The tickets were already taken. Because I was going to, if he had snatched those up, I was going to slip Mr. Flores at 20. Let me get a late day off, my brother. Head down to Los Angeles. There is nothing like a Dodger game. That is my Disneyland. I love every minute of it. I love the drive down there. We get down there by Burbank, see Griffith Park, where I once played golf as a kid. Ugh. The sight of Griffith Park freaked me out once. I was headed to Burbank Airport, fell asleep. Woman that was driving us absolutely told me she knew where Burbank Airport was. And I wake up and I look out the window. I'm like, you know, it's funny. This park looks a lot like Griffith Park. That is Griffith Park. What is that stadium? Way? Yo, we're going to see my mama. You better turn this car around. And of course, we missed our flight. 10 a.m. flight. We ended up leaving Burbank at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The only good part about it was got to watch the whole Mississippi State-Georgia game, and Mississippi State upset them. Lane Kiffin and Mississippi State Bulldogs? Mr. Sports Guy? Yeah. Mississippi State. Please stand by. Hey Siri, what's the Mississippi State mascot?
It's Bulldogs.
Is it Bulldogs?
Bully.
Quick timeout, coming right back. Top of the hour. If you missed it, we had the great honor and pleasure of having Sala join us in the 3 o'clock hour. We're going to re-air that at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we'll continue to check the board, see what you all are talking about. Our phone number, 842-5376, 842-KERN. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You want to do Messmaker?
Our next guest, I've been a fan. He's been one of my favorite voices ever since I've heard Mud Shovel and Stained, and now he's doing his thing with country music. Mr. Aaron Lewis.
How you doing?
You should be from Bakersfield. I don't know if you realize that, Aaron, but you would fit perfectly inside of Bakersfield.
I'm aware. I'm aware. I've spent enough time in Bakersfield to know that I'm not alone.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Hope you'll be with us tomorrow when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us, as he does each and every Thursday at 4:30. It'll be interesting. By that time, I assume that the big, beautiful bill will be passed, so we'll get his thoughts on that. And again, as I always mention, what makes Daniel so special in this program is not only his economic knowledge, but his political savvy, and he explained the ins and outs of this bill and how it'll go back to the House and then go back to the Senate, then come back to the House and finally be signed by Donald Trump by July 4th. And again, you know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. If it's staring you in the mug, call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400. His office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or NPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
420 Kingdom, call us and we'll bring them in less than an hour. Call 777 King.
Hey, Bakersfield, 420 Kingdom just leveled up. You asked, we delivered. 1 hour delivery guaranteed or get 20% off. 20% off. Royal rewards that stack every time you order. Exclusive new drops, bigger selection, and fresh daily deals. Plus, no delivery fee on orders over $50. But we didn't stop there. Visit our new pop-up shop at Luxor Lounge, 3015 Callaway Drive. Open 7 days a week. Same top shelf products. Order online and pick up at Luxor. Visit 420kingdom.com or Luxor Lounge today. Get premium cannabis delivered fast, fresh, reliable. Must be 21 years of age or older, 18 or older with medical card. California license C12 0000405.
420 Kingdom, call us and we'll bring them in less than an hour. Call 777 King.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
If I rule the world Every man will be free as a bird. Antonio Benedetto. Mr. Sinatra believed he had the best voice of any singer of the 20th century. Then he lost his mind late in life. He was a uber liberal who went batty at the end of his life. Just a little bit. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
One of the big networks news shows said Diddy's attorney's fees will probably be close to $14 million.
I would not be surprised. And that money won't touch him. Isn't that amazing? Have that kind of money? And you could say, well, he got out because he could afford that, but you got to look at it both sides. They probably wouldn't have brought this case if it were Chris Johnson. I'm beginning to think now that they did overextend, they did overcharge. And as complicated as RICO was, and the likes of which we've never seen, a RICO case, a criminal enterprise. Because again, you got to think, like Genco Oil, let's take The Godfather, for example. Genco Oil was a front. It wasn't a legitimate business. Tony Soprano was not in waste management. It was a front so he could pay his taxes, because you got to explain why he lives in this big house and drives this big car and has a $30,000 watch on his deal. And if you follow The Sopranos, you even know there's an episode where he's like, I need that tax deal. I got to show something in my income. But this is different. There's no question that Sean Combs didn't become an elite singer and create this incredibly successful production company so that he could have sex. He used the production company, the record company, to facilitate his desires, his peculiarities. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, you can say whatever you want about the jury, the prosecution overreaching, RICO, the complication, the boop, the bap, the bap, the bip, the boop, the boop, the bop, the bip, the boop, the bop. You can go all around the corner with all that nonsense. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is an 8-month pregnant woman told the jury that man raped me and he brutalized me and I wanted to get out of there. And then the most recent girlfriend got on the stand and in tears said the very same thing. That man raped me, and I said I wanted to get out of this thing, and they just didn't believe it. They just didn't believe it. Because think about this. You're the juror, and you're watching video you ain't never seen before in your life. People just going at it. And you see the face of Cassie and Jane. And they're absolutely loving it. There's no grimacing. There's no reluctance. They're loving it. They're setting them up. They're establishing them. And like I said, at the end of the day, Jane is sitting in a courtroom accusing that man of raping her and also slipping him a note. Baby, the rent's due on July 1. You got to pay me $10,000 or I get evicted. But I think you ought to be in jail. But don't forget to pay my rent. My rent's due July 1. You're going to get a late notice if you don't pay it by the 3rd. But I'd really like to see you at Rikers. But you better make sure your company keeps paying my rent. That's a little unbelievable, I think, for New Yorkers. That this man is such a terror, but you keep taking his checks. Head into the final hour of the broadcast. Umberto Sala, in my opinion, the finest defense attorney in town. was nice enough to join us at 3:30. We're going to re-air that for those of you driving home that didn't get an opportunity to hear Mr. Sala opine on this case. Then at the bottom of the hour, talk a little sports. Dodgers trying to make history tonight. Clayton Kershaw trying to join an elite group of left-handers. Steve Carlton, Randy Johnson, and CC Sabathia as the only left-handers in the history of the game to acquire 3,000 strikeouts. Dodgers should sweep the White Sox. They're one of the worst teams in all of baseball.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters
Sushi tonight.
Washington. What should have been a 5-minute
Bento
procedural
night.
vote on President Trump's
Bento
big, beautiful
Express.
bill has stretched for more than 90 minutes with no clear end in sight due to firm opposition from some corners of the GOP. Correspondent Bernie Bennett reports.
House Republican leaders are working furiously to pass the sweeping reconciliation bill before their stated July 4th deadline, but persistent delays threaten to put that goal out of reach. A group of GOP deficit hawks have been meeting off the House floor since returning from their meeting at the White House. An hour into the vote, Republicans were told to head back to their offices
I
and
don't
sit
think I'm
tight
going to
while
Vegas.
more meetings occur. In addition to intra-party defections, Republicans have also been plagued by weather-related tardiness and absences from their members. Bernie Bennett, Capitol Hill.
A federal judge has thrown one of President Trump's key immigration plans into doubt. White House correspondent Craig Clugston reports.
U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss in Washington ruled that the Trump executive order suspending asylum across the southern border was unlawful. But he put the ruling on hold for 2 weeks to give the government time to appeal. In January, Donald Trump declared an invasion of America. However, the judge wrote that neither the Constitution nor immigration law gives the president the authority to repatriate or remove individuals from the U.S. without an opportunity to apply for asylum. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Authorities say 7 people are missing following an explosion at a fireworks factory in rural Northern California that caused a massive fire. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection said Wednesday that emergency crews and investigators are working with the property's owner and monitoring the area using drones to find the individuals. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 10 points, the NASDAQ rose 190. More at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to relieffactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Dr. Howard D.C., founder of Balance of Nature and formulator of the fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements, has teamed up with veterinarian Dr. Jake to create Dr. Fido's Dog Food Topper, a tasty, nutritious way to enrich your dog's meals. Just scoop, sprinkle, and stir. Call 888-388-7297 or go to drfidos.com, drphytos.com. And for a limited time, order now and receive a 10% discount with our money-back guarantee by using promo code BALANCE.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm John Shearer. A portion of a Wasco poultry farm caught fire Tuesday, according to Kern County Fire Department. The call came in around 2:30 in the afternoon. As firefighters arrived at the farm near Highway 46 and Gun Club Road, they reported seeing large plumes of smoke and a structure engulfed in flames. Now, reportedly, no chickens were in the affected building, and people who were got out safely. Cause of the fire is still under investigation. We're learning more about a body that was found in a shipping container. In mid-June, Kern County deputies reported a dead person was found in a shipping container just outside of Tehachapi.
What's the drive device
according to
like?
reports, a suspect has been arrested and charged in relation to that incident. Police investigators have determined the suspect to be the grandson of the 83-year-old victim in the shipping container. Sources say the 22-year-old man was arraigned June 27th with a pre-preliminary hearing set for July 9th. The Kern County Probation Department Department arrested a man on suspicion
What
of
is she,
various
Latina?
crimes after he was found with a handgun, ammunition, and methamphetamine, according to the probation department. Officers who conducted a home call on White Lane arrested the man, who was on post-release community supervision, according to the probation department news release. Officers say they found the handgun, ammunition of various calibers.
Paramount
and about
agrees to pay
46
Trump
grams of
$16
what is
million
suspected to be
over 60
methamphetamine.
minutes
The
Harris interview.
suspect was arrested on suspicion
Wow.
of possession of a firearm by a
God,
felon,
he is on a
possession of
roll.
ammunition by a prohibited
He must
person,
have signed a
and
deal
possession
with
of
the
a controlled
devil.
substance, the probation department reported.
Are we back?
I'm John Shearer in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News
How
Talk
long is it?
96.1 and AM 1180
Oh, cool.
KERN.
I didn't think we went that long.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 2nd day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. At the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little sports. Day 3 of the fortnight in London, the Wimbledon tournament. No big surprises. Although you will hear from Coco Gauff, who fought back tears at her post-tournament press conference, after getting ousted in the first round. Talk about that. The Knicks have found themselves a new coach. And the Dodgers trying to make history tonight. And Shohei hit number 30 last night. God, he caught a hanging curveball and just damn near got it out of the stadium. Just absolutely amazing. And I believe he is pitching on Saturday. So you can bet that he's going to go 0 for 4. He hasn't gotten a hit on any day that he's pitched. And in fact, he hasn't touched the ball on days when he pitches. And it's all about leading off. If Dave Roberts, just don't have him lead off on the days that he's pitching. Because I don't care who you are, unless you're Clark Kent, unless you're Jor-El, unless you're Superman, and to get the current events, because the movie's about to come out next week. See what I did there? Unless you're that guy to throw 15, 18 pitches at the top of the inning and then walk to the dugout, put your glove down and put on your knee pad and your elbow pad and your gloves and then go hit. I don't care how great an athlete is. That is a tall task. And in the 2 games that he's pitched thus far, he has not touched the baseball. In fact, in one of the games, I think he struck out 4 times. I just think it's and the leadoff guy, I used to be the leadoff hitter for my baseball team. The leadoff guy, somehow it just works out that you end up leading off maybe 2-3 times a game. It's just the cycle, particularly if it's a pitching duel and it's getting 3 outs and 3 outs and 3 outs. You end up leading off once or twice. And it's just, if he's still in there, I think it's just too much to ask. Earlier in the broadcast, for those of you driving home and can't be with us in the first hour, we had the great honor and pleasure of having arguably the finest defense attorney in Kern County, Umberto Sala, to give us his thoughts on the Sean Combs verdict. That are watching at YouTube, Kern Radio, you see one of the finest defense attorneys in the land live in studio with us, Umberto Sala. H.A., thank you so much for doing this.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Ro.
So let's begin with the obvious. What do you think? Did they get it right?
Obviously, I wasn't there for the evidence, but the way the prosecutor charged this the U.S. attorney, from the beginning, I thought it was going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for them to prove the RICO charge.
6 to 9 a.m.
Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will talk about holiday traffic with our friend DC Williams from the California Highway Patrol. Dr. Corey Gonzalez will be joining us, talk about mental health care, and we will ask you one more time, please don't burn the town to the ground over the weekend. Plus news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Had dinner last night at my favorite steakhouse, KC Steakhouse. And after spending the entire broadcast asking you all to help me, what type of steak did I have? What did I end up ordering? The Ralph Bailey. The chicken breast with spinach and mushroom sauce with a baked potato and vegetables. I only mention that because that's what the restaurant is all about. Yes, we all know that it's the best steakhouse in Kern County. You all voted it so in the Bakersfield, Californian poll. But the great thing about Chef Daniel is that he's expanded the menu, and that if you go in parties for a birthday or an anniversary and you're a table of 12, not everybody wants red meat. And you can have any one of the great seafood dishes, the halibut, the swordfish, the mahi-mahi, the Ralph Bailey, a chicken breast, the lobster mac and cheese. I mean, it's just incredible how Chef Daniel has expanded this. And of course, one of the great steaks you'll ever have in your life. KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn...
Hey, Chris Orr is calling and says you're asking if you want anything from Starbucks. Apparently, he's right around the corner.
No, I'm good.
No?
Tell him thanks.
Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and
has been established. What Dodgers do you believe are in the starting lineup July 15th at Truist Field in Smyrna, Georgia, just outside Atlanta?
Shohei and Teoscar for sure. Teoscar didn't make it?
No, he did not.
Really?
No, he did not. The outfielders are Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs.
Right.
Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves. And Kyle Tucker, also from the Cubs.
So Acuna stole it from him then.
Yeah, which is a good call. Dude gone for what? A year, and the first pitch he sees, he hits into the damn stands. That guy is a stud.
Us more than anybody.
He is an absolute stud. Shohei Ohtani will lead off, apparently, as DH. Freddie Freeman made it at first base. Ketel Marte, the man that was harassed about his dead mother,
bugs me.
started crying on the field. Who are these people? He is starting at second base. Francisco Lindor beat out Mookie at shortstop. Manny Machado starting at third base. Will Smith's behind the plate. I told you the outfielders. Quick timeout. We'll talk some more sports when we come back. I'd stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration has accused states and schools of using federal education grants to help fund a radical left-wing agenda. The administration this week froze over $6 billion in federal education grants meant for immigrants and low-income students. Officials say they're reviewing the funds to ensure alignment with President Trump's priorities. Republican leaders in the House are sprinting toward a vote on President Trump's tax and spending cuts package, determined to seize momentum from a hard-fought vote in the Senate while essentially daring members to defy their party's leader and vote against it. It's a risky gambit designed to meet Trump's demand for a July 4th finish. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 10 points, the Nasdaq rose 190. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm John Shearer. A portion of a Wasco poultry farm caught fire Tuesday, according to Kern County Fire Department. The call came in around 2:30 in the afternoon as firefighters arrived at
Call
the farm
Bento
near
Sushi.
Highway 46 and Gun Club Road. They reported seeing large plumes of smoke and a structure engulfed in flames. Now, reportedly, no chickens were in the affected building, and people who were got out safely. In mid-June, Kern County deputies reported a dead person was found in a
Hey, how are you?
just outside of Tehachapi. Now, according to
Good.
reports,
How you doing?
arrested and charged in relation to
Same. The yellowtail and salmon.
victim in the shipping
And-
container. I'm John Shearer in the KERN
And
newsroom.
Unagi-
News every half hour.
And I'm going to do the Unagi as well.
96.1 and AM 1180
Yeah.
KERN.
Hey everybody, it's that man again.
All right,
Rob
I'll
Bailey
see you at
for
6 o'clock.
Adaptive Network.
Thank
it's
you.
funny or coincidental
Bye.
that I'm talking to you about Adaptive Network because they literally just left our studios. That's right. We've teamed up with Adaptive Network because they are the best
Long
in town when
and
it comes
tan
to
and
IT.
young and
you know, the biggest mistake
lovely.
companies
The
make with their
girl
IT
from
is not having
Ipanema
a
goes
plan. Like I've talked
walking
about,
and
as a
when
radio station, when
she
our IT
passes,
goes down, you
I
hear nothing. So
smile,
we can't
but
just
the
wait
girl
and say,
doesn't see.
we'll call our IT guy the
She
very
won't-
next day.
she
We have to
won't
have a
look
plan,
at
disaster
me.
recovery, security policies, and compliance that all often get ignored. And they also talk about antivirus. Today's cyber threats need layered security, firewalls, endpoint protection, and monitoring. And that's why we've teamed up with Adaptive Network and why you should as well. Call them today at 241-0638. That's 241-0638. Adaptive Network, your IT partner in Bakersfield, making it simple, stable, and secure.
What is the Armstrong and Getty Show? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. The old style of talk radio where you're always screaming our side's always right and your side's always wrong or taking a bunch of long, dull calls. No, we take a fast fast-paced look at the events of the day, the issues, the controversies, with a skeptical eye and a somewhat humorous tongue.
We try to be funny. We'll leave that up to you to determine whether or not you think it's funny. It's the Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Yeah. 842-5376, 842-KERN. I wish we had something to give away. We could ask the listeners, in which inning will Mr. Kershaw get his 3,000th strikeout? You got to throw out the first. There's no way he goes boom, boom, boom. No way in the world. But wouldn't that be cool?
That would be really cool.
Wouldn't that be cool if he just boom, boom, boom? 15 pitches. Boom, boom, boom. And if the third one was like a 3-2 pitch and just the sweeping curveball, and the guy's just like, hey, does the I was going to say, exactly.
I think so.
Are they going to expand the strike zone just a little bit? Just a little bit?
Not crazy. We're not getting Angel Hernandez level, but like if
But-
he's anywhere close,
Yeah, you got to give it to him.
at least for that one. The rest of the game, I'll be stingy, but that one you have to at least give it.
When I was an umpire, I would tell, particularly when I would travel, because I was part of a group of umpires that traveled to other little leagues, and I would literally go to both benches and explain, I am a pitcher's umpire. And I said, let me explain why. You guys are learning the game of baseball, and it's my belief that you should be swinging the bat, that you shouldn't be looking at pitches. So if there's 2 strikes and it's close, I'm going to give it to the pitcher. And I'm just letting you know that now. So I don't want anybody turning their heads and looking at me. Don't mess with me. I only threw out one kid in my whole 3 or 5 years of umpiring. He threw his helmet. He struck out and he threw his helmet. And I threw him out. It was a championship game. And it was in Palos Verdes. And I asked Ed Skelly, my best friend at the time, who was a big time umpire, like went to umpiring school and thought about doing it for a little bit, to come out and do it with me. He did the bases, right? So the kid walks off and looks back at me and he throws his helmet. And I'm like, you're gone. You're gone. And his coach comes out and just, it's a championship game. What's the matter with you? He's 12 years old. He thrown him out. I said, y'all told me that if they throw their helmets to toss them out. Middle of the inning, Skelly comes down from first base and goes, what's the matter with you? I go, what? He goes, you don't throw a 12-year-old out of their championship game. Dude, it's their championship game. You could have gave him a warning. And I was like, yeah. You know, that's haunted me forever.
Really?
It really has. And then the next inning, I went into the dugout because the kid was in the it's a championship game. And he's one of their best players. And he's sitting in there just crying. And so I went and sat next to him and I just said, I just explained why I had to do that. I didn't want to do that, but the league came to me and said they want to knock that off, that it was a problem in the league. And so I had to, and I did warn them before the game. You throw a bat or a helmet, you're going to get tossed. But you don't toss a kid out at that level in their championship game. Thankfully, his team won. But that even made it worse for the kid because he had nothing to do with it. I threw him out like in the second inning. And I just remember Skelly just sauntering down first base like this, just like, Ralph. I'm like, yeah, what? He goes, what's the matter with you? Do you not remember what it's like to be 12 years old? Can you imagine getting tossed out of your championship game? I said, no, but I know what it's like to be the GOAT. of a championship game, and I don't mean the greatest of all time, but I'm not retelling that story. I suspect, there's an opportunity he doesn't get it tonight. He's been on fire, and I think he had, 5, 6?
The last one.
Last one? I mean, there's, like you said, the White Sox are going to be doing everything they can. On 2 strikes, they're going to be swinging, Jack. They're not going to be taken on 2 strikes.
Yeah, but the White Sox are so bad that may not be a good idea.
They are pretty doggone bad. Michael Conforto got a big hit last night that blew open the game. Still hitting 178. But maybe he's coming out of it. I don't know. I forget what Kim did last night. I think he was in the lineup as well. But, the amazing thing about this club is we're really not playing that well. Freddie is in a horrendous slump. He really is. I've never seen Freddie. I mean, he was hitting 370 at one point, and now he's close to falling under the 300 mark. In fact, our best hitter is Will Smith. Matter of fact.
Kim went 0 for 3 yesterday.
Did he? Where'd they have him? Where'd he play?
9-hole.
No, where'd he play?
Position-wise, shortstop.
Kim played shortstop last night?
He did.
Oh, because Miggy got hurt. Miggy was sliding and hurt himself. I don't know why he's sliding without that damn glove. They have like a mitt now that these guys wear when they go in head first, which is another thing I don't understand. Why would you go in head first? That is just, I used to get raspberries on my thighs from sliding, but, have you ever seen, the ground at Dodger Stadium, that's not like dirt. It's like hard concrete almost. It is really, really hard. I didn't realize that. I was at the other station. We were the Dodger affiliate, and there were a couple of things that we got to do that were really, really cool. We got to go to the annual meetings, the affiliate meetings, where we met Frank. Frank was the owner at the time, and his wife with the calves that looked like a horse. This woman was in great shape she was, I think, in her 50s at the time, and she had like legs like a colt. That's all I remember about it. Very attractive woman. And one of the affiliates was from Jamaica, and they would always bring white and dark rum and give it out to all the affiliates. So we'd go home, literally, each one of us with 2 bottles of rum. And I'm not even a rum drinker. I drank it all through college. That's how I started drinking. Rum and Cokes, Bacardi and Coke. Ugh, I couldn't stomach one of those doggone things if my life depended on it. Just way too sweet. Way too sweet. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Nothing really exciting happening in did I send you Coco?
Yes.
Let's play that. Nothing really exciting happening in Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz won in straight sets today. Francis Tiafoe, one of the noted Americans, is out. Shelton and Taylor Fritz are advancing. They'll play tomorrow. But meantime, Coco Gauff, who got bounced in the first round, fought back tears, and you'll hear her say thank you. That's when someone is giving her a handkerchief to wipe her tears. She fought him back. But here's what she had to say about her poor performance at Wimbledon.
Yeah, I'm trying to be positive. After the match, I definitely was struggling in the locker room. I don't like losing, and I think for me the main thing, I'm sure my team and everyone's gonna tell me you did well at Rolling Girls, don't be so upset and things like that. But I don't really like losing, and I don't know. I just feel a little bit disappointed in how I showed up today. I feel like I could have been a little bit better, and those tough tiebreaker moments, especially after Rolling Girls, where I feel like I learned a lot in those tiebreakers. So obviously I'm not going to dwell on this too long because I want to do well at US Open, and, maybe losing here first round things isn't the worst thing in the world because I have some time to reset, but yeah, it's definitely sucks.
For really good athletes, I think most of them are driven by the hatred of losing more than the love of winning. I really believe that. That's the way I not that I was a good athlete, but that's what it just losing just infuriated me. So that's why I was always one of those guys. I'd rather get blown out than lose a close game. Because a blowout, you just walk away from. There's no examination. Nothing went right. You know what I'm saying? My first JV football game ever. First time in pads in high school. I returned the opening kick. We're playing Templeton. Big powerhouse. And Beatty is just all week telling us how we can't make mistakes and they'll take advantage, bop, 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 bop. And I run the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. Honest to God, first time I ever touched a football in high school, ran it back 80 yards. Do you know why I ran it back 80 yards? Do you think I caught it at the 20?
I mean, that was my first thought, but
no, in 8-man football, and this is a funny story because I was telling the story the very first time with JR as a producer. And anytime I talk about my football experience, my friends, my colleagues give me crap because I happen to play 8-man football. So I've heard it all. What did they have? 3-man basketball? Would you play over the line in baseball? You had a left fielder and a shortstop and a hitter? What? And so I'm telling the story about how I ran the opening touchdown back. And JR goes, well, what was it? 80 yards long from goal line to goal line? It was a long pause. And I was like, actually, yes. The field in 8-man football is 80 yards. And JR must have hit the ground. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes. There are only 16 players on the field. I don't need a whole 100 yards, only 80 yards. Now get off me. Toy Cook played 8-man football. You got to be old to remember Toy Cook. Played cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. TOI. Look him up. I'm not making this up. I hated him. He was their slot receiver, and he burned me several times. Played for Montclair Prep, our rival, where one of the Brady sisters graduated from Montclair Prep. Can you name her?
Marsha.
No, Eve Plum was a cheerleader. She's a little bit older than me. She was a cheerleader from Montclair Prep. It was a big deal too, dude. We'd go, we're sitting in the thing as the JV watching the varsity game, and we'd be like, dude, that's Jan. That's Eve Plum. As a cheerleader, it was crazy. I don't know why she went to Montclair Prep. Ugh. Let's go and take our final break of the day on this Thursday. Technically, it's my Thursday. I don't know about y'all, because tomorrow is my Friday. We're dark on the True Friday. What are we running? We're on the best of?
Best of, yes.
You'll hear the best of both the JR and Ralph Bailey show. What are you doing for 4th of July?
Like personally or on our show as well?
No. Oh, well, both. What are you doing for your show?
Oh, we're doing a best of as well for us on EBS on ESPN.
And what are you doing? What are you doing?
Honestly, I
Visalia?
haven't plans yet.
Not going to Visalia?
No, I'm not going to Visalia. No.
I'm not going to go there.
No, she is working.
Oh, you didn't see now. You viewed that. That's on you now. I didn't. All I asked is you go to Visalia. You don't want.
You know who she is?
Who knows who she is? Is she listening?
I don't know. She knows what I does or what I do. So
she knows what I does. Listen to Bernie get all flustered.
Oh.
She knows what I does. I mean, do's. I mean, whatever. Calm down, son. I'm not gonna get up all in your business.
I would rather not step in it like some people.
I don't step in it. I'm an open book. I don't care. I tell people where I live. I don't care. Did I mention there was another accident in the intersection of 23rd and E?
Oh, yes, you did.
And there was another simultaneous accident on 24th. It took us 10 minutes to get from E to Oak, where the accident was at. It was on 24th and Oak, right in front of those crappy apartments. that I actually looked at. When those apartments right next to the 7-Eleven, I actually looked at those with Lori, my real estate woman, and later to become my 2-year girlfriend who booted me because her family made her go back to her despicable husband. See, I'm an open book. I don't care. I tell other people's business. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Charlie Kirk at the top of the hour. Tomorrow is a Thursday, but it's our Friday. And the usual suspects, Michael Turnipseed and our money man, Daniel Petrie. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the JR Show.
And so if you say, hey, did you see that the United States bombed Iran over the weekend? Depending on who you're talking to, you'll get a certain response. It'll either be, well, we didn't bomb Iran. We strategically hit them with missiles. And then you have the other side that goes into the, oh, I thought Donald Trump said he wasn't going to start any new wars.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Hey, it's JR for Bakersfield Weight Loss. Yes, 25 pounds lighter and still keeping the weight off. I swear, everywhere I go, everybody wants to know, how did I do it? They're like, JR, are you doing those GLP-1s? Are you taking the shots, the injections? What's going on? Heck no, I would never take injections or drugs to lose weight, ever. That's why I love Bakersfield Weight Loss. It's all natural. Not only that, they've taught me how to reset my metabolism. That's right, that's the secret. Maybe you're currently using semaglutide injections, or maybe you had to stop taking them because of bad side effects, or your insurance no longer covers the treatment, or because you've gained all the weight back. Don't give up. Go to BakersfieldWeightLoss.com. They can help. Again, they helped me last year lose 25 pounds. Not only that, I've kept the weight off. Give them a call. It's a free consultation. 661-449-1150. 661-449-1150 or online at BakersfieldWeightLoss.com.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us. No one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare. We don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, Lucky dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1-year, no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
A huge thank you to Chain Cone Clark for helping everyone get home safe from the Battle of the Bartenders. As our Safe Ride Home sponsor, you made it possible for guests to enjoy the cocktails, cast their votes, and make it home responsibly. At Chain Cone Clark, it's more than just protecting your rights. It's about protecting our community. From all of us at the Battle of the Bartenders, thank you for keeping safety at the heart of the party. If you're local and you've been injured, hire a local injury law firm. Hire Chain Cone Clark.
Do you feel dizzy, off balance, or like your world is constantly spinning? You might be suffering from an inner ear vestibular disorder. These disorders can make you feel disoriented and foggy-headed. But the Vestibular Disorders Association can help. Visit liferebalance.org or call 800-837-8428 to learn more.
How much time I got?
liferebalance.org.
How much time I got?
Sponsored by the Vestibular Disorders Association.
2 minutes?
The Charlie Kirk
20
Show,
seconds.
weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 K.
DeAndre Ayton Ayton has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. The deal includes a player option between Portland and LA. Ayton will earn $34 million next season. Reached a deal with the Lakers president of basketball operations, general manager Rob Pelinka. Ayton finalized a buyout with the Trailblazers on Sunday night, with his representatives approaching the franchise about his desire to play in a winning situation and understanding the team's rising number of young centers. Could the Lakers be competitive next year? We got a center, and you know what does the whole season depend on?
Okay.
Yes. Does he spend the summer with LeBron and finally get into shape?
Oh, he's looked like it. Have you seen the pictures of him recently?
No, he's lost some weight.
Oh, he's lost a lot of weight.
Good. Now he's got to start moving his feet and start playing defense. Defense, particularly in basketball, is the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do. It's all about discipline. Get your butt down, shuffle your feet, keep your arms up, try to discourage the passing lanes. But most defenders play like this. They get down, they're all like, come on. No, get your arms up, make it more difficult. I can tell you as a point guard, it's annoying when you come up and your defender's got his arms up and you're trying to get the ball to your center. So play some defense, shuffle your feet, block out, just don't turn and look for the basket, find your guy and put a body on him. And it's not like learning how to shoot. It's not like trying to teach a center how to shoot free throws. It's just a matter of hustle and desire. That's what defense is all about. And I think that's why Dallas gave up on him, because they never thought that he would do this. I think that with LeBron and now these additions, that the Lakers are serious about contending right now, because I don't think you're going to see much of LeBron after this year. I really don't. He signed a 1-year, $54 million deal. And unless, the only way I see him bringing it back is if we get to the finals and lose, or maybe get to the Western Conference Finals and lose in 7. If we're seemingly very, very close, I'd rather this guy than AD. At least this kid's going to play 70 games.
That's true.
Good luck, Dallas, getting 70 games out of street clothes, Anthony Davis. I guarantee you, AD ain't playing 70 games next season. I just think he's mentally soft. He just falls all the time. I just think some guys, and again, he doesn't have the mentality of a center, because he didn't become a center until late in life. That's why Anthony Davis has got such a great shooting touch, has got such a great handle. He grew extremely late in life. So he's a guard for most of his basketball life. And I think, as weird as it sounds, I think certain positions have certain mindsets. And I think guards don't think like centers. You know what I'm saying? And I think he thinks, man, I got a sweet J. I'm going to take advantage of that. No, get your butt down in the post and just do that little turnaround 12-footer and bank it and get down court, play some defense. Oh. Let's clear the board and get out of here, shall we?
Ralph, it wasn't completely random. He was stalking these girls. He sat outside of their apartment in his car. He went to the restaurant where they worked as waitresses. They just didn't know he was stalking them, and he only lived 7 miles away across the border at Washington State University. These communities are very close to one another. I graduated from Pullman High School and am very familiar with the area.
Wow, that's a lot of information. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Talking about Brian Kohlberger, who pleaded guilty to killing those 4 students. And the parents are not happy. They really aren't. And one of the parents is trying to establish a law that would allow parents or relatives of victims to have some kind of say. That ain't never going to happen. You're just a witness. And again, I just would think I'd rather him rot in jail than give him the easy way out. But I guess I've never been the victim of a family tragedy like that, particularly losing a child. I can understand wanting somebody's blood. One more and I'm out.
Those poor children, they suffered a horrible death. This woman will hang in Bakersfield.
What are you talking about? Oh, the
lady from Vice
Maya
Versa.
Hernandez? I don't know. That's the problem with our jurisprudence. I'm not sure she's going to do a long time. I think she'll do maybe 2 or 3 years. The interesting question, and I'm going to try to figure out how we can get somebody, an expert to come in here and talk about it. But the interesting question is, what happens to her surviving son? And can you keep the son from the mother once she's out of prison? That's what I'm interested in. What happens to this boy who is mentally screwed when he grows up and understands that he lost his brother? And how do you not resent your mother? You killed my brother.
Not even just that, but medically he's going to be messed up too, because if you had a full heart or a heat stroke, that will mess with your brain.
Yeah, well, I haven't said anything about that. He seemed to be okay, but I don't know. Tragic story. Tomorrow is our Friday. Mike Turnipseed and Daniel Petrie, and we want to thank H.A. Sala for joining us. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.